Hey buddy, it's John with Upstate Brush Control. Today we're going to be in the shop working on dropping the rotor out of one of these Fecon heads, and then we're also going to be talking a little bit about different cutter heads. Oh, it's super bright out here. But so several people have asked if we're still with Fecon. So honestly, I do not know. Fecon they needed the yellow head that we used to run, the yellow Fecon. And they needed it for a big demo they had coming up on the new ASV 135. They needed it for a customer. It's their head. Kind of the agreement we had with Fecon was that they would always keep us with something new. This has been it was kind of in the works. You know, we knew it was coming, that they would need the head back. But as everybody knows, it is so hard to find anything these days. Equipment, new equipment, you know, you go to order something, it is months out. It's a long ways out. So they needed their equipment and they couldn't give me an answer on when I could get something. So I asked Ned Equipment, I said, hey, you guys carry Prinoth, what can we do about getting a head? My deal with Fecon has always been that I would only run Fecon because I believe in Fecon. Huge believer in it. It's a great product. This head here almost has 3,000 hours on it. It's made us a lot of money over the years. The one I had before it had 4,000 hours on it. Great products, great heads. You know, I've built a relationship and stuff like that with Fecon, and it's always been the yellow one, the other Blackhawk and stuff like that. It's always been theirs, and I would do video on it in exchange to use it for free. So that's kind of how our partnership worked. Kind of the same thing that I'm doing with Ned Equipment. So I, you know, say, hey, you know, I give my opinion, or my, you know, you guys get to see it run, see how it performs, and you know, hopefully the deal is they get to sell heads, and you know, kind of everybody wins. They get advertisement, and I get to give my 2 cents to people for what all that's worth out there. But got Mike out here at the shop with me. Sure do. I think it's in the box in the truck. Yeah. He's getting a tooth out so I can show you guys tooth patterns. But with that being said, that's kind of where we're at with Fecon. So there's a chance it still should be in the works, but they're waiting on production. I don't want to jump the gun on this. So Fecon is working on making a narrow Blackhawk. This is a Blackhawk, the same width as this. I can get the measurements out, but as you can see, it sticks out past the machine right there on either side. And that was one of my complaints with Fecon, or with the new Blackhawk. As far as right-of-way work and big open areas, absolutely kills it. This head, great. Same thing with the Prinoth. Excellent head. As far as wide open, see, same thing, sticks out past the tracks. A little bit past the tracks on either side. But as far as most of our work is in very tight area, tight little jobs, you can just sit on the workbench there. So a lot of our work is, we focus on residential. A lot of guys, you know, some businesses out there might focus on right-of-ways, gas line, power line, right-of-ways. You know, this is a very big industry, but my focus is a lot on residential and kind of backyard cleanups. That's where, honestly, that's where we can make the most money in one day's time. But back to the heads. So this head here, if anybody's been watching the channel for a while, this head here, several years back, I hit a manhole cover, broke 2 rings out, and we rebalanced it 3 times, I'm pretty sure 3 times, and it has not been the same since we hit it. So there's only so much you can do with balancing on the sides. Kind of with when the guy from Fecon came out here and balanced it, that was we got it the best we could, but there's still a vibration, and it's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse. So we are going to be taking this drum out. Me and Micah today are going to be taking this drum out of this head. I'm sorry, rotor. This is the rotor here with the teeth on it. We're going to be taking the rotor out, and I'm going to be bringing it up to Fecon to have them put it on their big machine that simulates a cutter head, you know, so they can see it spin and everything. So we have to put new teeth on it, get it cleaned up, get it taken off, get it brought up there. So where we buy our teeth, up in Asheville, Carolina Equipment and Tool Rental, I called up there yesterday because you have to have new teeth on to be able to balance this thing properly. You can't have an assortment of teeth or one tooth smaller. It won't balance correctly. It needs to be 100% factory as far as teeth. So I called up there yesterday. I told him what I was doing. The owner there, I was talking to him, Peter, and he's like, well, you're going to be down ahead, aren't you? Oh, gotta catch that. All right, I'm back. So when I called up there yesterday to make sure that they had the teeth in for this, I was talking to the owner there, and he's like, well, you're going to be down a cutter head because this might take a couple weeks or a week or two to get this one fixed. He's like, we just got this Blackhawk in. They actually sold this unit and a machine to a customer, and the guy's machine burned to the ground, and he ended up with this back. I don't know if he bought it back for insurance, or I'm not sure what happened. He ended up with this back and he's like, I'll rent it to you. Perfect. So we have 2 cutter heads now. We got 2 pretty good size mulching jobs. They're both about 5 acres a piece coming up. So yeah, we're not down any cutter heads or anything like that, and this worked out really good. So I've been customers of theirs for a long time. They've always treated me very well. But yeah, so me and Mike are gonna get this thing in the shop and start tearing out on it. But I just kind of wanted to give everybody kind of a side-by-side, well, kind of side-by-side, so comparison of the Prinoth to the Fecon. So this head and this head are not in the same category. This is considered a bull hog style, more of a traditional style head. How the shoes are longer and it has a longer belt this way. There's an open cavity here in the back. This is where the pumps are and stuff. There's nothing there. The only thing compartment is that right there with the pump housing. So all that's kind of hidden in here. Now this head here and this head here are in the same category, same design. Honestly, they're both copying Disassembly. So to a point, they both really are. Disassembly came out with this design originally, and then kind of everybody else kind of trickled in, followed after it. So one thing that we'll get some video of when we're actually cutting with these is we'll talk about it today, and then we'll show you in the video when it's actually cutting. This will be like a kind of a 2-part thing. So is the tooth design and pattern of this. So this is more of a scattered tooth. There are 32 teeth, I believe, on this. I'm gonna have to count these. Yeah, so I'll figure out the number of teeth. Hey Micah, yeah, can you count the teeth real quick? On the Fecon and the Prinoth. I'm gonna go show them this over here. So one of the things about the Prinoth, however you want to say it. I don't know why I'm struggling today with it. So This right here is a tooth from, as a Prinoth tooth right there. It has 2 bolts in the back. There's not no one here, but has 2 bolts in the back, and that's how it fastens to the holder. This here is a Fecon tooth. See that right there? That is a brand spanking new. Both these teeth are brand spanking new. So kind of show you side by side like that. Front edge, they're very similar in the cutting width. Pretty similar. Their angles are very similar. In them, you can kind of see right there. But this is a reversible tooth. When this edge wears out, you unbolt it with 1 bolt, flip it over, and you keep on rolling. This, once this is gone to about here, once it's gone to about here, you're not going to get that scooping action. When this tooth is coming around, it's picking up material like that. It's scooping it up, and it's spinning it up in the drum between the you know, the rotor and the drum casing there, chewing the mulch up and then spitting it out. So once this tooth gets down to a certain size, you're going to lose that scoop. Same thing with Fecon. One second. This right here is a wore out Fecon tooth. There's no scooping action on it. There's still a little bit of tooth wear on that, but that is no bueno. It is done for. You are not going to get much productivity out of that at all. The price difference between these two. So up where I get my teeth from. So this tooth right here, Prinoth tooth, is $28.42 just for the tooth. This right here is $42.99. So it is more expensive, but you have a double-edged. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not quite 28, 30, you know, I mean, 10%, a little bit more than that, whatever. More, but you get a double-edged tooth. Let's show them, how many teeth, Micah?
I think the Prinoth had 35.
35, really?
I was 30. It was kind of hard to count. And the Fecon had 30. 30,
okay. That's what I thought. So, I thought it was 32 for some reason. 32, 35. This here for a set of teeth. And I bought some rings with it. You don't have to buy a bolt every single time, but sometimes these right here, you have to put in the back of the Fecon tooth. It's a holder. It makes sure it stays in there. You do have to have these. Sometimes they get stuck in a tooth and it's not worth getting them out. So sometimes we'll get a couple of these. This was, it was $1,500 for a set for 30 of these and then 30 of these. So $1,500 for a set of those. We usually get, with Fecon, we usually get around 100 to 150 hours out of a set of teeth. So that's an equivalent to, you know, 3-4 weeks worth of work, something like that. So in the long run, like you're thinking like that's a ton of money. Spending that kind of money once a month or every month and a half, but the amount of productivity you get with running knives, you get so much more. You're slicing the material, you're not beating the material. But I was gonna show this to you guys real quick and then I'll stop talking. Here, Michael, let's go try to measure this. All right, so I'm gonna show them the kind of the depth cut as best I can on the two differences of the head. So the Prinoth takes a very, very fine cut off. So right now, as that's coming around, I'm trying to keep it close to the same angle. It's hard to do. I think our storm's blowing in.
The rains are coming.
She's coming. All right, so I'm gonna say it's right at 1 inch and I'm trying to stay as much parallel to the head there as I can, or the drum. So it right now, it's right, from what I can measure, is about a 1-inch bite. So as your wood is coming up through here, you know, if this is coming up, your drum is spinning down like this, is gonna take a 1-inch bite out of a chunk of wood. So let's go measure the Fecon. We'll do the we'll do the Blackhawk. I think they're different. But this here, it's hard to, looks about, these teeth are a little bit shorter too. About 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, somewhere in there. So this has more of a bite. There's more of a, and the tooth is, this tooth is shorter, obviously. I would say they have probably close to the same amount of hours on the teeth. But the bite, from what I can tell, I'm sure there's a form out there somewhere. From what I can tell, the bite on this is bigger than the bite on the Prinoth, which means, in my mind, that translates to, if you're trying to get as much done as you can in a day, a little bit bigger chip, and then, so how am I trying to say this, Micah? So a small chip is great. There's nothing wrong with a small chip, but you also need chip mass. So you need a chip to be like an actual size chip, like this big, not the size of my finger or the size of my thumb. You need an actual piece of mulch. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of dust. If you run that sucker over and over again, this head will do it. Any of these heads will do it. You will turn that material into nothing. You'll turn it into dust. But you really, in my opinion, you need some kind of mass. You need some kind of material in order to help keep down dust, and it's not necessary to take such a small bite. That's just my opinion. I know there's guys out there that they run these things, and you know, the smaller chip the better. But if you have too small of a chip, you're also going to run into a lot of erosion issues. You know, you want that material on the ground to help hold the ground after. And just like that, camera died and it started raining. So we moved this stuff in here real quick. And but what I was kind of getting at was, I know I've been talking a lot and rambling. I'm not an expert. This is just my opinion. I have run these things for a long time, a lot of hours. The pros and cons of them, I'll let you guys kind of decide that watching through the videos. No doubt that the Prinoth can rip. It'll cut for sure. Just as long as, excuse me, got a sandwich. Like, it'll cut, no doubt about it. My one concern is the tooth design, and how it's a one-sided tooth. You know, Dennis Seamoff, Shearex, other companies, they run a one-sided tooth. A lot of companies do, but you know, this head is designed to keep sharp constantly, and keep it sharp constantly. Yes, it might only be 20-30 minutes a day, maybe a little more, a little less. That is a lot of time sharpening, in my opinion, when you could be cutting brush. You know, that could mean getting home a little early, wrapping up early, staying late, you know, stuff like that. But then you get back into, if you're not sharp, you're not cutting as efficient. So it's kind of a toss-up. Whatever kind of, you got to do what works for you, in your business. Where I'm at right now, we can sometimes go 3-4 days, maybe even longer, without sharpening. For us, it depends on what material you're in. If you're in softwood, it doesn't matter. If you're in briars and ramble, run it. It's fine. If you're in hickory, white oak, red oak, anything hard like that, you're gonna want to run it as sharp as you can. So it's just kind of one of those things that whatever works best for you. But I wish I'd have known this about 8 years ago, what I know now. So I'm just trying to help people out. You know, that's part of the reason why I do these videos is when I got into this, I searched YouTube high and low for somebody out there that could help in the forestry mulching business, and that's what I'm trying to do, trying to help people out, try to enlighten people, make it easier for them to make decisions. And you know, I get to the comments and emails when I can, but I do have people call me. If you do, just try to keep it within you know, business hours, so let's put it that way. I don't mind the calls, it's all right. But but anyways, so that's, you know, that's kind of my opinion. Excuse me, that's kind of where we're at with Prinoth, Fecon, just kind of wrap up everything there. Gotta catch this. All right, Micah, you got anything to say? Any words of wisdom from, you know?
Words of wisdom? Or,
you know, just your 2 cents on it. What's your, give me, Micah's been an operator. He's been working for us for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that?
2 years in August.
Wow, 2 years in August. Okay.
Already.
Time flies. So, he's had a good bit of time on the mulchers. Nothing crazy, but, you know. What are your thoughts?
I definitely like the Fecon better.
I did not tell him to say that. So, why is that?
Well, I don't really know where to hold the head on the other one. I'm always digging in the dirt.
Okay.
That's sort of annoying. And also it shoots back a lot.
We're talking about surfboards that go, as you're spinning this way, it'll take a piece and kick it out underneath the machine.
So it's pretty annoying when you're backing up over a bunch of logs all day.
Yeah. So there are some techniques to that, but sometimes you just, I mean, you can cross over stuff. Like if we're coming into a piece, you know, instead of dead on, you can go this way or that way. But I mean, Micah knows that, but it's still, some of it's just unavoidable. But
those are biggest things so far.
Biggest thing, yeah. It spools up nice and fast, though. Yeah.
It cuts good, especially new teeth.
Yeah. Anything with brand new teeth is gonna also cut good. So if it doesn't, there's a problem. Yeah, you're spinning reverse. But that's Micah's opinion. So, all right. Well, let's yeah, we'll start ripping these teeth off. And yeah. All right, first things first, all new teeth. Oh, let's swap that one, yeah. That was, I think, an old one that we pulled up over there. It's this one right here. So what we do with the teeth is we take some anti-seize and we stick it on the threads of the tooth, and then we stick a little bit right there in the back of the tooth where the ring hits. And it makes the ring come off and on a little bit easier. This is a new Fecon design, and the one Mike is pulling off is an old one. But all right, so I gotta get these pulleys off, or that pulley off. Gotta get the belt loosened up and take this thing off. So yeah, this should be fun.
Yeah, it should be.
No big deal. They said it just comes right out of there. We shall see. All right, so just loosen these up right here. Loosen up the tension on the belt. Tell you that Prinoth belt, that was definitely thicker when we took that cover off. A lot more space on it for sure. Looks like I missed a tooth. Way to go, John. I was getting this guy.
You ever had one leak right before?
Huh?
You ever had one of those?
Yeah. But yep, that's what we're doing here. All right, so you gotta get that. That's like a safety piece right there. So if one of these backed out, this thing couldn't come apart, and your pulley and bearing and all that kind of stuff come off. But I cannot get that broke loose. So I'm gonna grab the torch, throw a little heat on it. Hopefully she'll come off of there. So this is the keeper that holds it on there, and I think I got to run these back them bolts out right there. This looks like it's not taking grease properly. This is connected properly, but the looks like grease is just kind of weeping out behind it right there or something. I'm gonna look into getting a new set of bearings while I got this thing all taken apart. Was the idea. What is it? Holy smokes, look at that. Liners. Ugh. Man. That's not good. That's not good, Micah.
Don't cook it all.
Alright, so I got the bearing off. Looking for some. Might be the right size there. So I got the bearing off. There's these bolts right here. I wouldn't say popped right off, but there we go. That's right there. And then it looks like I have the same kind of deal that was right there on this side to hold the bearing. So you guys see that? That isn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be.
That's all you have to do?
Yeah, that's it. It's loose on this side. Well, This side is home free over here, so that's what holds it all together. Those bolts there, then all right, so this side doesn't have the pulley, the drive pulley. Just gotta disconnect the grease fitting over here. You may turn that fan on low so I can hear it a little bit better. It wasn't low. Oh wow, so much quiet. Let's get off that little lip right there, one man. So part of me is videoing this so I know how to put this thing back together. But that comes off next. It does have a tapered edge on it right there. Goes in the inside. With that one on bearing, and then this was on over that. I'll try to get a diagram when I'm sure I will. When I put it back together. Oh man, it's all messed up. Imagine that. All right, let's keep getting her. Let's keep getting her off there, boys. Yeah, man. Getting all greasy. Greasy. A mess. All right, well, we just lifted it up out of there, and that's what we got. So there she be. We're gonna set it out back, and then we have some time. We'll work on this later. But last shot we were in, you can tell we were in a little bit of dirt and mud because it's caked in there. Back up a little bit. That's good. I'm very, very surprised how much, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see that. How much dirt is in this thing right here. There's a lot. A lot.
Oh, that's all dirt.
Yeah. So this thing rides in there. This, you know, like that. That thing's got some pretty good wear on it too. I wonder if we need to grind those things off, or they'll probably do it. Look at all this mud. Look at this dirt clods in here. It's like jammed in there. We're thinking about putting a new liner in it while we got it apart. I don't know, we'll see. It's a job to do it, because you gotta, when you go to cut off the old one, you have to put braces on and everything. If this thing moves at all, twists from one way or another from the shoes, you know, like if this side twisted and that side twisted at all, you're gonna have a mess. But we'll scrape that out before we go park it, Micah. But yeah, that's that is wild. Damn it, look at all that dirt in there. Got some wisteria vine, looks like some silk fence material. All kinds of good stuff in there. Good grief, Micah. Oh, it's a big old hunk of, that's a hunk of wood right there. This could be part of the reason why it was so far off balance. Half a yard of dirt in there. Alright, we're gonna get this thing cleaned up, get it on a pallet so I can put it in the back of the truck and hit the road tomorrow morning.